Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Really appreciate this man coming back. Peter McCullough. He is the doctor that we've had on since day one. When COVID came out, when the pandemic was happening, he has been shadow banned. I've been shadow banned. We've all been censored because he was right from day one. First of all, Doc, good to see you. How are you?
Thank you. Good.
We've been talking about this for years and years now, and you from the very start, as a cardiologist, talked about the adverse effects of these shots. Talked about the fact that we weren't allowed to even know what the adverse effects were, nor were we allowed to know what was in it. We weren't allowed to say ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine worked, or D3 worked, or zinc worked. We're in a different place right now. Are you feeling that much better, like exponentially better, that we can actually tell the truth and it won't be, squelched like it was before?
We're starting to breathe easier. Boy, what a bombshell that Mark Zuckerberg dropped on Joe Rogan when he, said that Biden administration was calling up Meta and having him take down posts on vaccine side effects, abstracts, right, manuscripts, valuable commentaries. Now the Trump administration has an executive order against censorship.
It's Dr. Peter McCullough. Let me ask you along those lines. I saw somebody post today, and it wasn't backed up with fact, and I know that you like fact, but I wonder if you think there's anything to this. The gain of function research was done in Wuhan because they had a vaccine they wanted to use. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it looks like, looking through Moderna's documents, Moderna had the vaccine all ready to go. In fact, Moderna essentially just needed the virus.
Wow.
In order to use as a reason to vaccinate.
Should people be facing charges? I mean, 1 million people died.
People died from two reasons. One, suppression of early treatment protocols, as you mentioned, and then vaccine side effects that were fatal. So these deaths were avoidable, and I do believe special prosecutors should be assigned and justice should be pursued. Now, you've heard that Fauci has a preemptive pardon for 10 years.
It's unbelievable. McCulloughFND.org is the website. Dr. Peter McCullough, follow him at Peter McCullough MD over on X. As all of this is being sussed out, I talked to Rand Paul a couple of weeks ago, and the senator said, when you do gain of function, you're changing and mutating a virus to one specific way, when naturally it could mutate 1,000 different ways.
Right.
So does gain of function ever make sense, do you think?
No, the goal of gain of function is, quote, to get ahead of nature. It's a very dangerous proposition. It should be stopped immediately. Not just the funding for gain of function research, but that type of research itself. It's going on all over the United States and all over the world. It should stop.
We've talked about this a million times as Dr. Peter McCullough, and I always appreciate the time and the access. Could you go through the steps again to, if you've taken the vaccine? Now, I haven't. I've no vax, but a lot of people have. And some of them took the booster. Then they said, well, maybe we should stop taking this. There is a way through 3 or 4 different items that you've talked about on my show that people can start cleansing out the spike protein that has been remnants in their body. What is it that they do?
We have now several years of clinical experience mounting peer-reviewed manuscripts. The combined use of nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin, really in medicinal doses. Nattokinase 2,000 to 4,000 units twice a day, bromelain 500 to 1,000 milligrams once a day, and curcumin 500 to 1,000 milligrams a day. You can get these anywhere, but used in combination, this gives people the best chance of clearing this spike protein from both the virus and the vaccine that gets stuck in our body. The spike protein, let me show it to you, Joe. It's the spine on the surface of the virus. It's this little porcupine spine.
Okay. And that's stuck in your body forever unless you do something about it?
We don't know, but it's an unnatural protein. It was engineered in this Chinese lab, and it looks like the body can't get rid of it for a very long time.
Does it do something that looks like autoimmune? And what I mean by that, for those watching and listening, I'm not a doctor, but I've learned a little bit about this, a lot about it from you and Malone and Lopez and others. But does it make your body constantly attack the spike protein even if you've never had the virus?
Yes. So this spike protein, at least the tip of it, the S1 segment, is stuck inside our white blood cells. It may be expressed on cell surfaces. But in my clinical experience, people develop autoimmune syndromes after COVID-19 and for sure after the vaccine, where the body is attacking itself because of the spike protein.
It's Dr. Peter McCullough, Peter McCullough, MD, over on X. Make sure you follow everything that he does. McCulloughFND.org is the website. When we're talking about the spike protein remaining in the body, then we also hear terms like long COVID. Is that the long COVID from the vaccine, or can long COVID actually be from SARS-CoV-2?
No, long COVID is because of this spike protein that stays in the body. So you get a little bit of it after the infection, and you get a ton of the full-length spike protein after the vaccine. So the spike protein in the human body causes long COVID in vaccine syndromes. We can indirectly measure it by measuring antibodies against it, which hang up over time because the spike protein is still in our body.
It's the amazing Dr. Peter McCullough, and incredible mind, and such a great base of knowledge for us for 5 years now on this entire thing. I want to talk a little bit about ivermectin. Now, I first talked about hydroxychloroquine, which got me shadow banned on Facebook and also on Twitter at the time. Hydroxychloroquine, we know, has some very positive effects because in Nigeria, they use it for malaria. And Nigeria per capita had very low happenstance of COVID-19. There had to be a correlation. Then studies proved that to be right. Ivermectin, there are dozens of studies. Not only is it a good medicine for people, it is an award-winning medicine for people. Doc, how do you think they were so successful in making people think it was for cows and horses? I mean, what was the thought process there by the medical establishment? We have to make a Nobel Prize-winning medicine look like it's bad now.
Joe, I used all the medicines, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, Paxlovid, molnupiravir, monoclonal antibodies. I used them face-to-face taking care of patients. I can tell you firsthand, ivermectin is the most beneficial, the most rapid-acting and powerful drug against SARS-CoV-2, safer than Tylenol. And our government agencies waged a war against ivermectin. The American Medical Association did as well. I think they did it in order to promote fear, suffering, hospitalization, and death to drive the population into mass vaccination.
When they said COVID would show up at the bar at 10 o'clock at night, or COVID would show up at the church on Sunday, or COVID, it knew that the BLM marches were off limits. This was all just politics at play, right? Trying to make us all take the vaccine.
I agree. And in fact, the WHO coordinated most of these messages through 140 national focal points. Ours is the Pan American Health Organization in Washington. And they sent out messages all over the world on the same day, Joe, like no one is safe or crisis of the unvaccinated. The WHO was the nerve center on this giant psychological operation that was carried out.
It'll be a long, deadly winter for those for the unvaxxed. And it turned out the unvaxxed are probably the most healthy now. And those who did get the vaccines, as we talked about, are suffering from symptoms that look like COVID, could be long COVID, could be something else. Before we get into the WHO and leaving the WHO, H5N1, should we be worried about this or not?
No, it's a very mild infection in animals and humans, like pink eye. There's only been one death in the United States. No details of whether or not he truly died of bird flu. Just use dilute iodine drops in the eyes, nasal sprays, gargles, twice a day for the workers. It's easily treated with prescription Tamiflu or oseltamivir or Ofluza. And, if someone's at high risk, they probably should get on the antivirals in the first day. Paper in New England Journal of Medicine by Garg and colleagues showed all the mild cases, they got treated with Tamiflu on day one.
So this is just, frankly, another scare to possibly control us again. Now, is there a vaccine for H5N1? What do you think the game was here? 2021,
CSL Seqirus had their vaccine licensed as an antigen-based vaccine. Very dangerous. More people died with the bird flu vaccine than in placebo. I wouldn't recommend it. Now there is a messenger RNA vaccine in development by Moderna, self-replicating RNA vaccines elsewhere. We don't need a human bird flu vaccine. We simply need to allow the world to develop natural immunity to this very mild strain.
Doc, do you think President Trump should make some sort of an executive order saying nobody can get royalties or make any profit or benefit whatsoever in government from the sale or the pushing of vaccines?
Yeah, the government should get out of holding patent rights and getting flows of money from these inventions. We also need to ban direct-to-consumer advertising on TV. It's driving up the costs of drugs, confusing the public, and in other countries outside of New Zealand, no other country in the world has them.
I've been talking to you about this for a long time. I know the Nordic countries were early. I know Israel, I think, was pretty early. Who was the first country out there that raised the red flag and said, hey, hold on a second. What are we doing with ventilators and this vaccine? Was there one country? Was it all of the Nordic countries? Because I know they told men, don't take this vaccine. This could be myocarditis ridden. We don't want you to die.
Boy, no countries actually pulled the vaccine off the market. Many
Really?
independent groups raised the red flag. I think the very first group was a French group. Then it was the World Council for Health in the UK. And then, of course, I started raising concerns March of 2021 in the Texas Senate.
And we had you here very, very soon thereafter. It's Dr. Peter McCullough. Go to McCulloughFND.org. Also follow him at Dr. Peter McCullough, MD, over on all the social media sites. He's a great follow and always giving incredible information. What was the intention of the WHO? I don't even know how long it's been around. Was this something recent, or has it been around for a long time?
Well, we joined the WHO in 1948. We're now pulling out. I've been in medicine for 40 years. I've never relied on the WHO. They greatly misled us through the pandemic. They concealed and covered up the Wuhan lab, had this false messaging campaign, promoted masking, lockdowns, and then they pushed the unsafe and ineffective vaccines. WHO, good riddance. They were trying to take a global power grab with the pandemic, treating international health regulations. Now that's out of the American viewpoint, and thank goodness.
The previous administration literally was going to allow the WHO to be our health agency, weren't they?
Right. That's exactly right.
And what does that look like? So somebody overseas somewhere decides whether I can go and get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine? Is it that simple?
Yeah, well, it means they can make the call. They can lock us down. They can declare pandemics. They can make decisions regarding agriculture, how many cows per acre, and all kinds of environmental decrees. It would have been a disaster, and I'm so relieved we're out of the WHO.
President Trump says it's about money, that we were giving $500 million a year. China, with 3 or 4 times the population, giving about $38 million a year. Was it about money, or is there more to it?
Well, we weren't getting anything for our investment, and our rates were going up more than 10% a year. In the letter back from WHO to Trump, they said we've been trying for 7 years to improve accountability and cost effectiveness. Well, they just got their budget trimmed by 20%, Joe.
They certainly did. So what do we do now as a country? Do we start the American Health Organization? What do we do to make sure that Americans are safe, are healthy? I like that RFK Jr. is going to be involved. Without that overlording body that we're sending $500 million to for no reason, what do we do now independently to make sure that we take care of Americans?
Oh, we have very good surveillance mechanisms. Our CDC, our community health labs, all the various networks, they're all functioning well. We need better guidance at the top of the CDC. So David Welton probably would be excellent now going into that position. So we have plenty of technologies, outbreak analysis, in vitro diagnostics, analytics. We don't need the WHO.
It is Dr. Peter McCullough, McCulloughFND.org. Go follow him everywhere at Dr. Peter McCullough, at Peter McCullough, MD, right now. Wanted to ask you about, and if you don't want to go here, we don't have to go here, but I've got you, and you're the expert on all things medicine in my brain. Everybody's taking the shot now, this Ozempic thing, to lose weight. I know we claim that we have to be fat positive and body positive, but the bottom line is everybody wants to be healthier, everybody wants to lose weight. Is there anything that you can tell me about these shots, these prescriptions now, where a lot of people are losing weight, but their faces look weird to me, they look gaunt to me? Is there anything to that?
They're grossly overutilized. There was a paper in JAMA saying that half of the nation qualified for what's called GLP-1 receptor agonists, or Ozempic. I think they do play a role for severely obese, diabetic, heart and kidney disease, favorable data. So I do use them selectively.
Yeah.
They're greatly overused now. People are now using them to try to touch up their weight. Young people trying to slim their figures. There's a harm because they cause more loss of muscle mass. That's the reason why the faces look weird. They can trigger pancreatitis and other problems. So I think we should really carefully review and curtail the overuse of these drugs, GLP-1 receptor agonists.
Was there something that this was meant for, and now we're using it off-label for weight loss, or was it developed for weight loss?
No, it was originally developed for diabetes.
Okay, and people started losing weight once they started taking it, so
Right.
everybody jumped on the bandwagon. One last thing, and we talked about this, I believe, a while ago, with President Trump making the executive order that we've got two genders, male and female. You and I talked about the possible side effects of the vaccine maybe playing into the trans movement. Is there anything to that?
You know what's probably playing into it is excessive childhood vaccination, which some studies, including one out today from Mawson and colleagues in the journal Science, Public Health Policy and the Law, that excessive childhood vaccination could be related to autism spectrum disorder. And it's autism that is the setup condition for kids to take this transgender journey. The vast majority of transgender people actually have autism.
Did not know that. That is unbelievable information. So what RFK Jr. has been saying about vaccines and its possible correlation to autism, you kind of agree with him?
I don't know. We don't know the causes of autism. I think everything should be on the table. CDC says it's our biggest childhood disease concern, and I wouldn't rule anything out. The vaccines need to be investigated because they are being accelerated over time, and they're rising, right with the rates of autism.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is it used to be very, very seldom, and now it's very frequent. So there's something going on. Something has changed. But one last thing, and Doc, thanks so much. I know you've got some more stuff to do. But one last thing, when it comes to our food supply, are you concerned with 18 ingredients in like a bag of cheese? That doesn't make sense, does it?
No, I think a lot of these concerns have been overplayed. The big one was trans fats. The American Heart Association said, get those out of the diet. And the food industry has done a good job. We need to finalize that. People have turned their attention to food dyes and other components, and I think it's fine to review that. But the bottom line is people need to make healthier choices. We can't tell people what food to eat. And, I'm much more concerned, honestly, about COVID-19 vaccines being on the market than anything in the food supply.
I said last question. I mean it now because I know you've got to go. Do you think President Trump will do an executive order taking them off the market? Can he do that?
He could, but I don't think he will. I think we're going to have to see more data, more deliberation on this. Probably have to see other countries start to do it. We're 5 years into this, Joe. Nobody's pulled it off the market.
Amazing to me. It's Dr. Peter A. McCullough. Go to @Peter McCullough MD. Go to his website, McCulloughFND.org. Always appreciate the time and the access, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, brother. We're back after this. Stay right here.